It's 10:47 p.m. He said, "I'll sleep early tonight," at 4 p.m. He said it again at 9. Now he's watching a stranger reorganize a kitchen drawer on his phone, and he has no memory of deciding to do that. This is not insomnia. He can sleep. He's choosing not to. Every night around the same time, he makes a promise to a version of himself that doesn't exist yet, and then he breaks it on purpose while fully conscious of what he's doing. Millennials typically go to bed around midnight, not because the day runs that late, because the actual obligated part of it ends around 6 or 7, and what's left after that doesn't feel like enough. So he takes it back, later, from himself. He brushes his teeth at 10:30. He sets an alarm for 6:15, does the math, gets 7.5 hours. If he falls asleep right now. He does not fall asleep right now. He picks up his phone for a second. The second becomes an hour. The hour becomes him watching a video about a man restoring a rusted knife, a topic he has no relationship with and will never think about again after tonight. Nobody made him do this. There was no meeting that ran late, no emergency, no one waiting on a reply. The obligations ended hours ago. What's happening at 10:47 is not a spillover of work. It's the opposite. It's the part of the night that belongs to no one but him, and he's spending it the way a person spends money they weren't supposed to have in the first place. Quickly, without much of a plan, on nothing in particular. The lights are off, except the one from the screen. The room is quiet enough to hear the fridge cycle on in the kitchen, and somewhere in the back of his mind, a very calm, very unbothered voice notes that tomorrow is going to be rough. He hears the voice. He does not act on it. He just keeps watching the knife get less rusty. He knows what this is. That's the part that makes it strange. It's not denial. He's not confused about the consequence. He'll be tired tomorrow. He already knows this, the way you know it's going to rain when you leave the umbrella at home anyway. There's a name for it now. It translates roughly from a Chinese phrase describing the specific frustration of a day so consumed by obligation that a person starts stealing hours back from their own sleep just to feel like the day belonged to them at some point. Revenge, bedtime, procrastination. Revenge implies a target. The target is whoever took the day. Nearly 6 in 10 millennials say they don't get enough personal time during daylight hours. Not weekend time, not vacation time. Daily, ordinary, unscheduled time that belongs to no one else. Work takes some. Commuting takes some. Errands, emails, the low hum of being available take the rest. By the time all of that is accounted for, there's very little day left that hasn't already been claimed by someone. So the day gets extended. Not literally, the clock doesn't change. But psychologically, bedtime becomes negotiable in a way that waking time isn't. You can't renegotiate the alarm. You can renegotiate when you stop being awake on purpose. One study of over 2,000 adults found that 96% admitted to doing this intentionally. Not occasionally, regularly. On average, about 3.5 nights a week, which is basically every other night, for a total of roughly 300 lost hours of sleep a year. That's 12.5 full days annually spent conscious for no functional reason, watching things that will not be remembered by name in a week. 96%. Sit with that number for a second. That's not a niche behavior. That's most people you know doing this on a Tuesday, calling it nothing. Researchers using a clinical measurement tool put the number who do this at a diagnosable frequency somewhere between 40 and 60% of American adults. Which means this isn't a millennial quirk exactly. It's closer to a default setting. Millennials just talk about it more, because millennials talk about everything more. And there's a shape to who it hits hardest. People working in hospitality, healthcare, government, legal, and retail report the largest personal time deficit of any industries measured. The jobs with the least predictable hours produce the most predictable revenge bedtimes. Ask him why, and the honest answer isn't, "I forgot to sleep." The honest answer in most surveys comes down to one thing. It's the only time that feels like his. Almost two-thirds of people who do this say exactly that. This is the only unclaimed block of the day, which means the problem was never actually about sleep. Sleep is just what gets sacrificed because it's the only thing flexible enough to take. You can't steal time from your job without consequences. You can steal it from tomorrow's version of you who isn't around yet to object. There's a researcher term for the trait most linked to this: future time perspective. People with a strong one picture their future self clearly enough to protect that person's interests. People with a weak one treat their future self more like a stranger, someone they've heard of but don't feel especially loyal to. Guess which version wins at 11 p.m. with a phone in hand? Tomorrow morning him is not in the room. He doesn't get a vote. Tonight him controls the phone, the lights, and the decision. And tonight him has never once had to live with the consequences of tonight him's choices. That job always goes to someone else, and it's not really about self-control in the simple sense. Self-regulation research on this exact behavior shows a real, measurable link. People with lower self-regulation delay bedtime more. But framing it purely as a willpower failure misses the transaction underneath it. He's not failing to sleep. He's succeeding at something else, taking something back. The exchange rate is just brutal. He pays in tomorrow's clarity, tomorrow's mood, tomorrow's ability to feel like a person before 11 a.m. for 40 extra minutes of a video about a kitchen drawer. Half of everyone who does this is on their phone, specifically not reading, not working, just scrolling. Something built to not have an obvious stopping point. There's no credits to wait for, no natural pause. Just an algorithm that has learned better than he has exactly how to keep a tired man's thumb moving. At 11 p.m., the math doesn't hold up, and he knows it doesn't hold up. And it doesn't matter, because the math was never the point. People sleeping 6 hours or less are 41% more likely to report high burnout than people getting 7 or more. Which means the exact thing revenge bedtime procrastination is trying to fight, the feeling of being burned out, overrun-owned by the day, is the thing it quietly makes worse. It's a loan against tomorrow's energy taken out to pay for tonight's sense of freedom, and loans eventually come due. Ask around the next morning and you'll get one of two answers. A little more than half say they felt tired but glad they took the time back. Close to a third say they just felt tired and regretted the whole thing. Almost nobody says it felt neutral. There's no version of this where the night comes free. He's tired most mornings. He'd tell you that without hesitation. He'd also tell you, if you caught him at 10:47 p.m. instead, that tonight is different, that he really is going to bed early this time, that he means it. He believed that yesterday, too. He'll believe it again tomorrow. That's not a character flaw. That's the design of the thing. The promise is made by someone with a full day ahead of him, and broken by someone who has just realized the day is already gone. Nobody fixes this by trying harder to fall asleep. The problem was never located at bedtime. It was located at 9 a.m., at 1 p.m., at every hour in between, where the day quietly filled up with everyone else's claims on it, until there was nothing left with his name on it except the 40 minutes he wasn't supposed to take. He's not bad at sleeping. He's good at noticing when a day has been taken from him, and he's found exactly one lever he's still allowed to pull. It's 10:47 p.m. He said he'd sleep early tonight. He's still awake, watching a stranger fix a knife, and somewhere underneath the video, he already knows how this ends. Because it ends this way most nights, and he already knew that at 4 p.m., when he made the promise the first time. If any of this landed, there's more of this on the channel.